Welcome back again. Neds Declassified podcast is live and recording. This is Kirk. With me here I have Jacob.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Ned Pod. We had a good one today. We've got some firsts in it, mainly being, this is, what's this guy's name? Famine's first episode?
Famine.
Is it Famine? Okay.
They say Famine.
I wrote it as Famine. I probably shouldn't have done that.
Famine.
I just didn't put the E at the end.
Okay. Famine. Yeah, that's pretty much close. I wrote it like Faymen, like Famine.
Yeah, and I was wondering when he was going to show up. I couldn't remember what his name was.
He is the heartthrob. He's the Latin / Middle Eastern heartthrob. He's Latin, right?
I don't think he's Middle Eastern. Yeah, I think he could be from Spain.
It was pretty ambiguous where he was from. To be honest,
it was very ambiguous. Yeah, I mean, he barely says a word.
And that's how it should be with foreign exchange students. It should be very ambiguous.
like in that '70s show, no one knows where Fez is from.
Yeah. But yeah, we also have that's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. He comes in the second episode. First episode, we do have the first time we see Mrs. Knapp. Maybe the only time.
I think the only time, because this is the first time they ever talk about social studies, which is her subject, and then she promptly retires at the end of the episode. So
true. You're right. They've talked about like history before.
They've done geography before for sure. But this is social studies specifically. So you wrote down everything that it has inside of it, right?
Yeah, well, so Ned considers social studies to be 4 different things: geography, government, history, and a lot of projects. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong at all. He's not wrong at all.
When was the last time you had social? I feel like I remember social studies.
Middle school. I mean,
yeah,
I wanted to say 7th grade, but I feel like 8th grade was probably also social studies.
They start to call it other shit after that. It becomes more specific.
It becomes way more specific, yeah.
Yeah, like American government, actual history.
Yeah, you end up having to divide those up because they teach you more in-depth things, I think.
That's the goal. That's the idea. But yeah,
that is definitely the goal.
And I mean, Ned kind of hypes it up. He's like, "Yo, this is like a real class. You gotta like maybe record your lectures. Like it's a fucking college class."
Yeah.
Like,
and he's in 8th grade, so like he kind of needs to chill.
Has anybody ever told you once to chill out, Ned? I think he's pretty chill.
He is pretty chill, but but apparently not so much. He takes social studies pretty serious, so.
Sometimes he's motivated, sometimes he's not motivated. It's like, like anybody,
He also calls it the talkiest of the subjects.
A lot of words, very talky, a lot of stuff to remember.
It didn't seem like Mrs. Knapp was saying that many things, though.
He got screwed because he got Mrs. Knapp. So that's when it goes into like, well, depending on the teacher you have,
That's every class, though.
Mrs. Knapp is a really, really old teacher. Apparently, the actress, we looked this up, the actress that played Mrs. Knapp was born in 1913.
Yeah.
And this show came out, 2006, 2005?
2006.
She was remarkably old to be not only a public school teacher, but to be an actress, to be anything.
Yeah. She has since passed away, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
She's the same actress that was in Wedding Crashers as the grandma. And she was also in, I think, what was the other one? The Wedding Singer. I haven't seen that full movie, so
she only is in movies about weddings.
Yeah. She started when she was already in her 50s. Her first thing was in the 80s, which was kind of crazy.
She lived a whole life before that.
Yeah, it said on IMDb she was like an acting coach, but that's a pretty in-depth IMDb talk about Mrs. Knapp.
Yeah, but she's clearly very, senile. They're playing into that. That's her whole thing. Is like she's like everything. Her desk is covered in cobwebs.
Yeah, which is pretty funny because she's old.
She's just so old. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but she comes up with the idea to have like a project contest. The winner of which gets to go on a trip to Washington, D.C.
It's actually the state capital. I thought it was also Washington, D.C., and they say it towards the end. They say the state capital towards the end, which makes a lot more sense because, like, they talk about it being a weekend trip, all the way from fucking California to Washington, D.C. would take so long.
What even is the capital of California?
Sacramento, isn't it?
They're going from San. We don't know where they are.
We don't know where they are specifically. I think they're somewhere in like those like pocket counties in California somewhere, like we talked about last time.
Yeah, they're one of the red counties.
I think they are. Yeah, somewhere in the desert.
But yeah, they're like, we're gonna get to go to Sacramento. It's like, who the fuck cares about that?
Sacramento's kind of tight.
The whole time
Hey.
I thought it was D.C. that they're talking
So
about.
did I, and the whole time I was so confused because it made no sense being a weekend trip. But at the end they do say state capital.
Yeah, because Cookie's like, I want to go on the weekend trip. Like, I want to go on a romantic weekend trip with Lisa. And I'm like, what the fuck is romantic about politics? First of all, let alone going to D.C. I mean, I guess.
DC's cool. I mean, if they were going to DC, like if like what the cherry blossoms were in bloom or something, that's kind of nice.
I mean, we went to DC as boys,
Yeah, that was a great time.
fresh out of high school.
Everything is free in DC, which is pretty cool. So if you don't have a
Except the
ton of
Spy
cash,
Museum.
yeah, except for the Spy Museum. But if you don't have a ton of cash, you can hit a lot of dope museums for free.
All the
Just as an
Smithsonian
FYI
stuff.
to the audience,
Yeah.
you know.
The lawn.
Yeah.
You got to walk the lawn. You can do it in one day. They tell you you can't.
I think they call it the mall usually.
You're right. The lawn. We didn't go see the
Mr.
White
President's
House, though.
lawn.
We didn't go.
No,
see
we
that.
walked past it. I have a picture of you like pointing at it.
You could see it like over the hill. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also in this episode, Pal makes a return. Principal Pal.
Yeah, he's been in a couple in a row now, I feel like.
He has. It gives a little bit of a through line as far as like making sense in the timeline of. Are we watching the right episode? Is it out of air date versus whatever date? That's.
Yeah, it's still impossible to say.
But yeah, Pal.
I wasn't
apparently-
thrown too much in this one.
No, yeah, Pal. We're told by Mr. Wright
Yeah.
is thinking he's still the principal,
Yeah, he's confused. He's senile.
refusing to leave his post.
He's pantsless at one point, right in the beginning.
Throughout much of the episode, he's pantsless. I feel.
He does prefer to be pantsless, I think.
Who wouldn't?
But Mr. Wright is like setting up his office in the middle of the hallway in order to, I guess, remind Principal Pal that he's not principal.
It's a
or
little
something.
protest. It's a little protest on
It
Mr.
is-
Wright's part.
Yeah.
And it's because Mr. Wright can't stand up for himself, and he doesn't want to hurt Pal's feelings. He doesn't want to be like, Pal, buddy, maybe you forgot we fired you or whatever, but don't do that.
Well, they didn't fire him. He's supposed to have retired, right?
They send him out.
At least
on
I
the
don't
ice.
think he got fired.
They like release him like on a block of ice out to just die like a Inuit,
Yeah. Or they put him in a canoe and catch it on fire, like
Oh, that'd be crazy.
like the Vikings.
That's more fucked up somehow. What's worse, to starve and be cold, or to burn to death?
Well, I think they're usually dead when they light the canoe on
Yeah,
fire.
they are. That was
Yeah, I don't think they're alive still. That'd be
Yeah,
fucked.
Pal blasts out of the principal office dressed like a superhero in underwear, palest
Yes.
legs you ever seen.
Oh, white. So pale.
And yeah, Mr. Wright looks back. He's like, "Oh fuck," and then he comes running toward him.
Oh, fuck. Not this again.
And Pal doesn't bat an eye at Wright's office set up in the middle. He's like, "I got shit to do."
Keep in mind, this is Mr. Wright's jurisdiction, so all these kids witnessing Principal Pal just in his underwear is gonna that flame is gonna come under his ass when the superintendent comes down.
I think those kids are used to it by now. As fucked up as that is.
That is fucked up. I mean, you could see them like laughing and snickering and stuff. They're like, ooh, but like at the end of the day, that's gonna be some scarring ass shit, I think.
Yes. Yes. Back to the social studies class, we find out that the teacher, Mrs. Knapp, has decided that she's going to assign to be partners Cookie and Evelyn Kwan.
Yeah, this is right after Cookie finally asks Lisa to be his partner, and she agrees to it as well. She's down. She's down to clown.
Yeah.
But that is swiftly taken away by Mrs. Knapp, which is sad because this is another episode where we get to see Cookie's lust for Lisa.
His lust for Lisa, I mean, just, I don't know what you'd say. His lack of backbone, his just demasculation by Evelyn Kwan.
She's constantly slapping him. That's become a through line of their relationship. He is always getting slapped.
We should address this. I thought that last we saw the two of them, she was aggressively attracted to him.
She was, and yeah, because she did actually say that he drives her crazy or something like that.
It's like, yeah, you drive me crazy. One day you'll be mine. Some shit like that.
Yeah, some sort of crazy ass shit. When he was just trying to get back to the bus, poor guy. But.
Yeah, his happy place. His one happy place. But yeah, she's all over him still. But she hates him. Actually, no, she's not. There's not one hint of attraction from Evelyn to
Cookie. This is also one of the this was like the one thing where I was like, maybe this is out of order, was like the fact that Evelyn has no sign of attraction towards Cook, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't make it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. Maybe the air date's wrong.
I mean, she did kind of seem like because he kind of tricked her a little bit. He was a little trickster devil when he was like, "Hey, the reason I keep smashing our project is because I actually like you. You drive me crazy and stuff like that." And you could see it in her eyes. She kind of loved that, but then she knew he was lying. So maybe there was something there.
He's very squirrely. He's very willing to lie at the drop of a hat. I mean,
he is definitely willing to lie at the drop of a hat. This man will do anything for his needs and his desires, his deepest thoughts. You know.
Talking about the project, Mose and Ned are project partners throughout the episode, but Ned is distracted by his lust for Susie.
Yes.
The entire time.
He wants to constantly go on water fountain dates with her.
Water fountain dates, all kinds of
What
dates.
are these? What are these water fountain dates?
You just go, you talk, you hang out. The water fountain betrays Ned in the next half of the
episode. Yes, it does. It really does.
But I don't know. I don't know what is specifically going on.
Yeah, Mose is constantly jealous of this, though. She's super fucking jealous. She needs to chill, I think.
This is, I think, maybe the most jealous we've seen Mose.
Yeah, I think jealousy was not a good color on her. She didn't. I feel like it was not good. She needed to chill. She needed to fucking leave Ned. Let Ned do his thing.
She wants Ned. She doesn't know that she wants Ned, but she does want Ned.
I know, and we're waiting. We're waiting to see all this unfold.
But Mose builds a big. It's a scale replica of Mount Rushmore. She's made out of what appears to be paper mache.
Definitely paper mache, yeah. Maybe some of that spray paint that comes out textured. That shit's kind of cool.
So it's got 3 fake heads and 1 hole where Ned is supposed to go and be Abe Lincoln, I think?
No, but I think Jefferson. Because I think it was Washington, Jefferson, Teddy, and then Lincoln. Because Mr. Quest is always Lincoln.
You're right. It was Mr. Quest. So it was Lincoln, Theodore, the Hole, and then Washington. Washington was played in the what we get into.
He was played by Gordy.
Ned has a fantasy where the faces come to life because Ned gets stuck into the hole. I thought at first Mose actually nefariously glued his face into the hole.
I think she may have
to keep him there. She may. It's to be fair, we don't know that she didn't. We really don't.
Hold on, I'm looking up who played Teddy because we couldn't figure it out. We had no idea who Teddy Roosevelt was. It was such a weird impersonation.
Yeah. So long story short, Ned gets stuck in there, and then he has a fantasy where the paper mache Mount Rushmore comes to life. So he has a conversation with the heads. So they're talking back and forth. The guy that plays Theodore Roosevelt.
It doesn't say.
He's just this fucking weird guy. He's got shifty eyes.
He just keeps saying, "Yeah,
yeah." Everything.
Why was that Teddy?
That was Teddy Roosevelt.
It doesn't say. He's not listed. He's not credited.
That's incredible.
But that little kid that was in the last episode,
Fuck,
that's
who
also
was
in the
it?
next. That's
Damn.
also in the next part of this episode. You know the little blonde kid. He was in the thumbnail of the previous episode. His name is Tyke, apparently. Tyke. Tyke.
That's the character's name?
That's the character's name. What a weird name. Why did they give him that name? It's because he's short.
He's a little
Tyke. It's so weird.
That's how the toy brand is.
Some of their
too.
names are so on the nose. They're like, they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Crony, Buzz, Tyke. Coconut Head.
But yeah, he gets stuck in there, and Moses just screaming at him the whole time, and eventually blasts him in the face with water.
Yeah, was that like to break him out of like his like?
No, it's because he's so thirsty. He wants to go to the water fountain, but she's so jealous. She just blasts him. She's like, I just don't want you to be thirsty.
He's like, I'm stuck. Mose, help! I'm trapped. And she's like,
Yeah.
Fuck you! And blast. Yeah, she
Yeah.
waters him.
And you don't want to be stuck in that thing because then you're you're a mountain man. You're a part of the mountain now. You know.
You start to go mad. He goes mad. That's why he hallucinates.
He does hallucinate immediately, and then later on he has to trek it around in order to find her because she wanders off. She wanders the fuck off.
She eventually does help him get out of it, but
yeah,
it might be that she put him in it to begin with.
This is once they're in the gym, by the way, because that's where she goes. I don't know what she's doing in there. I forget what she's even doing in there. And then because she's by herself, and then Ned's in there and apologizes, and like she gets him out of there. And then the thing goes flying and ends up
we're getting ahead of ourselves.
The gym.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. But
what do you mean? What's going on?
Well, Cookie multiple times destroys the Evelyn Quine project. He flips the table. He does the thing. He does that. You know, like we kind of talked about that a little bit. We get a little sneak preview of Lisa and Seth's project.
We do. It's the Wild West, settled by domestic women.
Their thesis is that female domesticity settled the West.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just got a small, like what is
Western town.
Yeah, it's like a little model Western town, like you'd have a train.
It looked good.
Through.
It looked really good.
It was very nice.
It looked better than Cook and Kwan's. I'm gonna say that.
I didn't see any domesticity at play, but
no, there should have been a larger scale that went along with it, that you could see the inside of a household. That would have been good.
Lisa should have been dressed like a maiden.
And Seth should have been dressed as like a fucking
Wyatt Earp.
I was gonna say a cow.
Okay.
Wyatt Earp.
Yeah, he's got like the mustache and stuff. Ned is gonna meet Susie's parents. This is kind of what leads to him getting stuck in the Mount Rushmore thing. This happens before that. Ned is talking to Susie about how I've got this hot date with fucking
with my mom.
Dinner. I'm gonna eat dinner at Susie's parents' house. At Susie's house with Susie's parents.
Susie's mom's house. As we know, her parents are on the splits. Her dad moved away.
They've got to be
just her mom.
That's the only explanation for her.
Because he does say again that it's just her mom that he's meeting.
He does say that. You're right. He's like, I'm gonna meet Susie's mom.
Yeah, the dad's
You're
gone.
Right.
Yeah, that's a through line.
He's not.
No,
he might not be gone,
not.
but he's not home.
He's gone. Oh, he's gone.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
He moved out to fucking Salt Lake City or some shit, dude.
Oh, yeah. He went on to a lake somewhere. He's definitely a lake person now. Yeah, lake people get wild. After
Hell yeah, they do, dude. You get a pontoon boat in a lake house and you fucking no holds barred, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the Gordy Mount Rushmore thing. And then they wreck the gym.
The trashing of the gym. The horrible incident. The most ruthless trashing that Durga's ever seen.
At first, I thought it was just going to be their project that got destroyed. And then it's just like, it's a Rube Goldberg, like the balls fall, and then everything
the dominoes,
falls, everything comes down, everything's crashing down, and then Durga comes in, and she's like, you wrecked my gym. It's like, it's not your gym, Durga. Come on.
It's her gym, because she's going to have to clean all that shit up, because she didn't get the kids. She didn't get them.
We have seen her before go to the detention room and say, I need a couple victims, and they just do her work for her. She's definitely going to do that.
That's true. That's a good poll. That's a great poll. You're telling me she's going to get fucking Crony, Buzz, and Loomer to do it?
Someone that's in detention and They're perpetually in detention.
I think those three would like doing it though, because they'd probably do a couple curls on the dumbbells that got knocked over.
They've had their run of the place while they're.
They would get a couple reps in.
Yeah.
I don't think she could tell them not to.
She'd spot them, if anything. We find out. We find out that Mr. Wright's first name is Alistair.
That is true. Yeah, because Principal Powell calls him by his first name once he finally stands up for himself.
Principal Powell basically comes out of his, he's dressing like Spartacus the whole episode, and he's actually in the next fucking half of the episode too. It's a lot of Powell this episode, but
yeah,
Powell is a superhero. He's playing like he's senile, but he comes out like has a moment of clarity, and he's like, Alistair. Because eventually Mr. Wright is like, you're not the principal anymore. I'm the principal.
Yeah. He kicks his ass out of the office. Finally. I mean, Jesus. Like, it's been so long. Like, he's already been on the news as principal talking about how he's going to take down the art classes.
It's been like 3 or 4 episodes at least.
Yeah. It's been a disturbing amount of time that he's not had that office. Like, even the VP has an office of his own. Right. And you're not going to give the fucking principal one? Come on.
Now that you bring that up.
Also,
where the fuck has Krubs been?
Well, he was in the last episode. He just wasn't in these two, which is a shame, but but I have a question. Why is Principal Powell's office not attached to administration?
Attached to it?
Yeah, like Krubs' office is attached to the administration room. Like that little administration office that's in the front of the school. I
kind of know what you're talking about. I think it's because it's just seniority. I mean, Krubs has to.
His office is in a random ass place. It's near the bathrooms, I guess.
Who, the principal's?
Yeah. Yeah. It looked like it was where like a janitor closet would be. It was in the middle between lockers. Like what?
It doesn't make sense. But
it was random.
It kind of makes sense.
I don't know. I feel like the principal's office is always in the admin building all the time, every time. He should be up
front. Yeah, he should be up front with everybody else, obviously. all the other administrators, it makes sense.
Yeah, maybe Pal just didn't want that. So like Krubs has who the actual principal's office is. Krubs has that office.
Krubs maybe tricked him into getting that office.
Well, Krubs is a trickster bastard, He's got the fucking secret lair.
He's probably on vacation right now.
I assume every time he's not on screen, he's on vacation. He's back in Miami solving crimes.
Yes. Did you have a rating in mind for this half?
I think I would give this one. I'll go 7.5. It's higher than I want to go, but I think that it's right.
You have the same thing now.
Classic.
I wrote it while you were before you said that, as I was asking you what you.
Yeah, I think that's where it's at because it was still pretty funny. There was a lot of good things that happened. I love a good dream sequence too, which was nice. Principal Pal's hilarious at all times. At least if we don't get Krubs, at least we have Principal Pal.
Yes, and the last thing I wanted to address that I realized was on the next page. Ned gets, by the end of the episode, his shirt is cut in multiple places like he's been knifed.
You're right, yeah, because he tells Susie that he can't go to the date because Mose has a breakdown and needs to have their pizza video game night as scheduled every week. Or she'll fucking lose it. So he tells Susie no go, and she apparently attacks him.
Yeah.
She, like you were saying during the episode, she was slicing at him with a switchblade.
Yeah, it's like she took out a switchblade and was whipping it around, and before he could even blink, half his shirt's gone.
Yeah, he's been obliterated. It's sad.
But then, as quick as it began, on to the next episode. Embarrassment. Silence. The episode begins. It's like a study hall. Maybe maybe they're taking a test.
Yeah.
There's the fart.
Damn. It wasn't nearly that high pitched. It was more of a bassy fart, like a,
Yeah. But then everybody freezes, and then Ned is like, shit.
But they all know it was Ned. How the fuck did they know it was...
Somehow they all know it's Ned. I don't know if they have... Maybe it's the room. I don't know. The room.
I feel like from what I can remember from school, when someone would fart and you'd hear it, I feel like everyone was always just like laughing and was always like, who was that? You know, no one was ever like, it was them. I don't remember anyone knowing it was one person.
Well, Ned does kind of like...
He shifty eyes it, which is the wrong way to go about it.
Yeah, he looks at the camera, and then everybody knows it was him.
Yeah, big mistake. But that starts the series of unfortunate events for Ned throughout this episode. Ned is constantly just doing the worst things and having just the worst luck. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, multiple times he goes over to the water fountain, like we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
Trying to just sip.
Yeah, he's trying to get a little bit of... Also, this is a dual water fountain. This is a two-headed water fountain. Large basin. Which is interesting.
That is a little bit of a rare design.
It's an old school design. I feel like that's a classic. You wouldn't find it these days.
Yeah.
Now you've got the ones where you can put your water bottle in and it'll fucking come down
like
from the top. And those are tight. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want.
A lot of the time I have my own water bottle.
Every time. How could you not bring your own water bottle? You got to stay hydrated, you know?
Yes. Feynman comes into play here. Pretty much right off the bat, I think he's addressed. It's like
he is, but I also have written down that Principal Powell is playing Spartacus.
That happens.
And he's the one he's constantly coming through every time Ned embarrasses himself, almost like a dark omen. Almost. And then
True.
He what does he say to Ned when he looks like he pisses himself? I think your dam broke or something like that.
I think your dam broke.
Something damn. I don't remember what exactly it was.
Yeah, that's what he said. And then what did he say when his fly was down?
Your barn door's open, I think.
That's classic.
That's the classic one, at least, at the very least.
That has to be what he said.
No, he said your drawbridge is down. Because it was Spartacus.
You're right, because it wasn't the
barn door one. The barn door one is that's the goat one.
For some reason, yeah. But yeah, Latin / Brazilian Feynman.
I think Brazilian could be a good peg. Or he's straight from Spain, which I could also believe.
That's true.
You know.
He could be. It'd be weird if he was from Monaco.
That'd be kind of tight. He's
like, I'm from Monaco. It's like
he's filthy rich.
Isn't that just like a city?
No.
Toot Toot comes at Ned after he's come out.
Yeah. Well, Ned is on his turf now, and Toot Toot doesn't play that shit. You know.
Well, it's Toot Toot's turf.
It's his turf, and he knows that if anyone steps on it, he's not going to have the respect from his classmates that he usually has, you know?
He is he's very much a mafia gangster boss.
He is. I wish he would have been in like a dope armchair or something in the bathroom. That would have been sick, and had like a couple dudes with him.
Yeah, a couple goons. That'd be good.
A couple of fucking goons.
And then he farts at Ned.
Yes.
You know, he toots him out.
And I will say the cookie plot line for this episode is that he's constantly being pantsed. There's even a contest that ends up happening where everyone sees how many times they can pants cook, which is disturbed.
It's fucked up.
That's such a fucked up thing to do to him. None of these people are his friends. Most of them are random people.
Yeah, Loomer is the one that makes that announcement.
Yeah, well, that's because the one kid, the kid that I talked about earlier, Tyke, he's like, "Can I pants cook?" And they're like, "Yeah, anyone can. We're me and fucking Crony are competing." Buzz has the fucking chalkboard. Who?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucked up. And then Gordy goes over to, Cookie after this. He's like, "I used to get pantsed all the time."
Yeah, he gets stuck in like a conversation with no one, just just staring off into the distance.
Yeah, he's talking to Cookie. The mob comes, takes Cookie away. Gordy's still talking. He's like, it began back in the Carter administration.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. He must have been he would have had to have been a small boy.
It would have been.
I guess that still pans out.
It's a small window of time. It's only one.
It is a small window of time. It was a single term man. Yeah, damn. And then Reagan rolled in.
Yeah. But Gordy's 40. We know that already.
Mm-hmm.
We get a Cookie
40
cutout.
Gordy.
Another good cutout of Cookie makes it. He has a lot of those happen throughout the
series. He's got the cutout sitting at the lunchroom table, and Ned and Mose are talking to each other about, Moses in a neck brace. I don't know what the fuck she's saying. And then
I think that something happens between her and Feynman, and she like almost hurts him or something.
But even before that, right in the beginning of the episode, she had the neck brace on. So
from the jump.
From the jump, my guy.
That's confusing.
Re-pull up your shit and look at it. I dare you.
No. But Ned is like, let me give you some tips. Don't eat the fart starters. Those include eggplant, beans, and broccoli.
Eggplant is an interesting thing to be served at a middle school.
Yeah. I don't know. What do they go to? I don't know if they go to like Italian middle school or something.
They're in Little Italy somehow in this.
It's Moulignon for lunch again.
Oh.
It's going to give me gas. I didn't know that was a gas thing either. I don't know.
I didn't either, but to be fair, I didn't know broccoli was either. I knew beans. Everybody knows beans.
Broccoli's for sure. And also broccoli gets fucked. It fucks your teeth up, which happens.
That is true. But it looked like he had like some other fucking like spinach in his teeth or something when he was there.
It was crazy. Whatever it was crazy.
But before that, when they're still talking at the table, the mob of people come after Cookie's cutout. And when they drag him to the ground, and then when they come back up with him, it's a different cutout. He's like scared, and he doesn't have any pants on. And then there's a separate cutout of pants. It's so ridiculous. They didn't realize when they ripped him to the ground that it was a cutout. It took them ripping the pants off.
They pantsed the cardboard cook.
It's so fucked up. And Cookie's just hiding under the table. He should have been long gone by that point, I think, in my opinion.
It's crazy that he stuck around.
That's a mistake. That's a big mistake on Cookie's part. Well, and he was peeking the whole time. Like, what are you doing, Cook? You got to be fucking out of here. You know what the stakes are?
Yeah, he was like looking. He's like, oh my God.
Yeah. And they run past Gordy again, and he's still talking to himself, talking about nothing,
At that point, I realized he was talking off. Basically, he's telling the story of how he came to become a janitor wearing a one-piece jumpsuit onesie with pants that cannot be pantsed.
It apparently all stemmed from him just being pantsed 1,000 times as a kid like Cook, which I feel like this doesn't make sense for Cook's trajectory in the future. He's not going to become a janitor. Ned's going to become a janitor. Everyone knows that. There's no shot Cook does.
Ned is closer to the Gordy model.
Yeah, well, it's a father-son business at some point, That's what it's going to become, at least.
It's the family business.
Yeah, Cook's going to go into some sort of STEM field. Everyone knows that. He's going to be doing some sort of engineering or fucking something.
Maybe Cook will do something like, maybe he'll be like a mechanic, where he can still wear a one-piece jumpsuit.
See, I've never seen him do any sort of mechanic-type things. It's not like in Drake and Josh where, Josh fixes up the dune buggy. And you're like, man, that kid could be a mechanic,
I mean, he built that robot that destroyed the talent, that destroyed the science fair that one time.
That is true. That is facts. And that was a battle bot. And that was pretty sick.
That was an exoskeleton.
Do they still play those fucking BattleBot matches on the Sci-Fi Channel or whatever the fuck it was, the Science Channel?
I think they've rebooted, or they've done it a few times. I think.
All you Nedheads should look up those matches on YouTube. They're pretty sick.
You gotta watch The Wedge.
Is that one of the bots that just has like a fucking thing or something?
It's just a wedge, and it wrecks
And he
everything.
obliterates? Oh, damn.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
That's tight. I'm gonna be
The
watching those
wedge.
videos after this.
So you gotta look up the wedge, and then Cookie at one point he goes, "Leave the boxers," while he's mobbed by
Yeah, because he
Panthers.
walks out with 20 pairs of pants on. It's
That's
the most
the next-
insane thing where he
that's
has
the
big
next tip.
thighs.
That's Gordy's advice. His
Yeah.
Gordy's initial advice.
Yeah, because these were the steps that Gordy went through. He's just trying to essentially put Cook through the same trials and tribulations that he did.
It does seem that way, and yeah, Cook has the thighs. When you know that episode of SpongeBob,
The thighs that don't quit, dude.
Do you know the episode of SpongeBob where Squidward eats all the Krabby Patties and he's like, they all go to my
Yeah.
thighs?
Yeah, and he's got the big ass. He's got
He
the
looked
fat,
like that.
juicy ass.
Yeah.
That's like one of those things where you're like, I watch it for the plot, and it has just Squidward with a fat ass.
Yeah, big thighs. A tip Ned
Yes.
offers, practice talking first if you're going to be talking to someone that you're attracted to. This is advice specifically for Mose talking to Feynman.
Yes, I will say this doesn't go well for her. Because he doesn't talk second in this case. He won't talk. He refuses to talk.
He mugs her.
Yeah, why is he even doing that? I understand like the thing at the end where he's like, spoiler alert, he's like he doesn't
My
speak very good
English no
English,
good.
but like why you gotta look at her so weird? He was like giving her all sorts of weird faces, like that's not a good sign.
looking at
Don't
her
look
like-
shifty eyed at her the whole time.
He's looking at her like he's gonna eat her. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she was perplexed, understandably.
Yeah. She ends up destroying him because she fucking falls on him somehow. I don't remember how that even happens.
It's every time that it's a comedic series of events to lead to, dismay
Yeah.
for the people. But it's like, does he have he has a neck brace on. She has a neck brace on. At the
Yeah,
end.
they're both in wheelchairs. They're just sitting
Yeah.
next to each other.
They're like, she's like, sorry, I, handicapped you for maybe permanently.
Sorry, I paralyzed you from the dick down. And he's like, it's okay.
He's like, my English not good.
Yeah.
But then
And she's like, oh, okay, well, damn.
the real cap of the episode is the final appearance of Spartacus, aka Principal Pal, in Social Studies.
Yeah.
Whole episode long, he's been hyping up. You got to show up to Social Studies class. Don't miss out. You want to learn what it's like to be a gladiator? Because he's dressed like a gladiator.
Yeah. Also, before this, Ned pisses himself again.
Yeah, the fountain fucks Ned over again. The water fountain.
Pisses himself twice in one day.
It completely covers his entire crotch in water.
Also, one of his tips was to have extra clothes.
He
So-
said that tip before, to be fair.
Yeah, he has used that tip multiple times. He really wants to drive that home. Bring a lot of clothes.
He's like you're gonna want like 3-4 pairs of underwear and pants in your
He's
locker
like,
at all
listen,
times."
you're gonna piss or shit yourself at school at some point. It's like when you go on vacation and you pack too much underwear. It's the same sort of philosophy,
Yeah, you gotta overshoot it. You don't
You
undershoot.
always do. You don't want to undershoot. Undershooting is the worst case scenario.
What are you gonna wear it inside out and?
No
backwards?
shot.
But yeah, Mr. Pal's like at the front of the class. He does the "I'm Spartacus." Ned farts. They do the "I'm Spartacus."
Yeah. Well, no, Susie farts.
You're right.
Susie farts big time. She rips ass harder than anyone's ever heard.
She looks around first. She's like,
She's like,
it's really obvious.
She lifts a leg. She lifts a leg and shakes it out like it's some sort of crass ass movie.
It's like the live action. You know that scene in the Scooby Doo movie where
It's like you're watching like Norbit or something.
Yeah, Norbit, Scooby Doo. All those movies have fart contests.
The Epic movie or something like that.
It's real early 2000s crass style comedy.
crass comedy where it's just like the whole joke says like you farted or you're fat or like some sort of real dumb joke like that.
Man, I don't think I've seen Norbit all the way through.
I'm almost positive I saw it in the theater when it came out.
That's good. I know that at one point he's dressed like the fat lady, and he's at a water park, and they're like, "Are you wearing any like bottoms?" And they're like, "Yeah, I got." It's like underneath the fat or whatever.
Yeah, it's a fucked up movie. It was a bizarre
terrible.
trajectory for his career.
Eddie Murphy, yeah.
But he's back now. I mean, Coming to America 2 came out, I think, at some point.
I mean, we watched Shrek 1 and Shrek 2 in the past 2 days.
Those are both fucking slappers, I'll tell you that. It's been a minute since I've seen Shrek 2, but I have seen Shrek 1 not that long ago.
I had the thought earlier today. I was like, what if Mike Myers is like tusking himself into becoming Shrek somewhere? He's like in a room. Mean? He's like getting surgery to become like Shrek permanently.
That'd be a good gag. I hope he does it. He gets his skin turned green and
yeah.
He gets his ears reformed to be like those weird fucking long things. Those cones.
In Shrek 2, when they go undercover in the fairy godmother's factory, in the magic potion factory, he wears gloves on his ears in the disguise.
And Shrek is a fucking great franchise. Good. Really great franchise.
Anytime we can talk about it, it's good.
Maybe we'll do a Shrek pod. The votes are still open and out there for what we're gonna do as our next podcast, because we are rapidly approaching the end of this one. Unfortunately,
we do Shrek like half hour by half hour. We just talk about.
We could do like a series of ridiculous and shit like kids movies or something like that.
True. We'd have to come up with a good name for that show. But
first episode, obviously Max Keeble's Big Move.
Yeah. I think this half was a little bit better than the last half. I think talking about it,
Oh, I agree. But before that, Ned covers for Susie for the fart, and he says, "I am Farticus," and then everybody ends up standing up. "I'm Farticus." And then Missy says, "I'm not," and then she lifts up like we were just talking about, and actually lets loose a fart. Like you could see her move and let it out.
It takes
and then
like a minute.
Finally says it.
It takes a minute for everyone else to be won over. Eventually, they're all because Ned is like, "Oh, what? Have you never been embarrassed? Have you never fart?"
And yeah, he's like, "Have you never burped in public? Like, what are you talking about?"
Everybody's
bro?
Like, "All right, he's telling the truth," and they stand up. They're like, "I am Farticus too."
Yeah.
Yeah, Missy's like, "I'm not Farticus."
Yeah, the only one to let out the wettest, nastiest fart you've ever heard in your life.
As if she didn't have any control.
Yeah.
We know that she's got control over it.
She let out the slickest fart, dude. It was gross.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a better episode. I want to give it, I think, an 8 out of 10. I think it's a clean 8.
I think you're right.
Nice.
So I agree. It's an 8 out of 10.
Nice. We were.
I don't know when the last time we had different ratings was.
Well, I mean, when our ratings are different, they're still fairly similar. We haven't had drastically different ratings.
It's usually pretty close.
Like a 0.5 off here and there, 0.25 off here and there.
I think that if we really wanted to, we could come up with like a objective. This is how you rate a Ned's episode correctly, and it would be.
I think that is. I mean, it's fairly easy, right? It's how much I'm audibly laughing, how good the subplots are, how good the main plot is, how much fucking Krubs action is there.
How true is it to the characters, though? It's like, what makes a good plot? Sometimes we get a plot, it's like, this plot doesn't make any sense to the characters. That's why it's a bad plot.
Yeah, how true it is to the characters is definitely one. How much does it make sense to the overarching plot of the season?
Right.
There's a couple different things out there. Netheads in the Nation, let us know what you guys put into your ratings. I would love to know what you guys look for in a Ned episode, because maybe it's different than what we look for. Me and Kirk are pretty on the same par what we look for in a Ned episode.
Yeah.
But you never know.
It ends up being that way. I know some of you guys are rating at home. Chris Dixon.
Big shout to the homie. But make sure you guys follow us on Insta at @harbor_boys, on our YouTube at youtube.com/c/the Harbor Boys.
It still doesn't hurt to hit up Devin Devin works harder. Devin works harder.
Yeah.
And then Daniel_Curtis_Lee. Hit him up, send him a DM, maybe be like,
he listens, I think.
You guys know about the Neds Declassified podcast?
Yeah. And if you were able to fucking, I guess, snail mail Lindsay Shaw, because she deleted all her social media, so.
I think she's still off all of social media. I do think that's still true.
I think that we could be her podcast back into the light.
Yeah, we were going to be
That'd be pretty sick.
Also, Pinky Pinkston. He's out there. Coconut.
Yeah, he's out and about. He doesn't act anymore, but he is DJing full time.
He's DJing, and I think he could become a podcast guest in the future.
That could be pretty sick. He knows how to work a mic. But yeah, make sure you guys listen on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you guys listen to podcasts and shit like that.
Apple. Harbor Boys on YouTube. If you're watching this video, you see us here. Subscribe, obviously.
You guys will be able to see my cat in the background. That's an extra little tidbit. He's been sleeping the whole time.
Yeah.
But we'll catch you guys for the next Ned episode, where hopefully we get a little bit more Feynman. A little bit more Principal Pal, a little bit more Gordy action, you know?
Let's make Krubs reappear.
Please make Krubs. Oh, right. Before we end, Coconut Head was briefly in this episode, so that was nice to see.
It's been a long time.
He was pantsed.
I think it's been a long time since we've seen him.
It has been. But hopefully we get a little bit more him in the future and the rest of the nerd gang.
Yes.
And we'll catch you guys for the next episode.
Don't forget to use the promo code Weasel20 at adamandeve.com for some
fuck yeah
percentage off. Try it. It might work.
It might work. Peace out, guys.
It's Alpha Sam, no music.
That's backwards.